Hey gang, Captain Jonathon Moss from the Captain's Log TV, radio, and of course, he's the charter man that you want to find when you come into the Indian River Mosquito Lagoon right here on the Space Coast. Give Jonathon a call. We appreciate you guys and gals listening to this episode, and hopefully you enjoy everything that we talked about today. Welcome to another edition of Catch a Memory Outdoors right here on WWBC 1510 AM. We appreciate you tuning into our radio station this morning and listening to what's going on. Remember, we've got low power frequencies. We got 99.9 FM, 94.7 FM, 100.7 FM, the WWBC app. There's all kinds of ways that you can listen to this radio show and get involved with the programming. You can give us a call here, 321-632-1000. That's 632-1000. That's our call-in line here in our studio at the radio station here in Cocoa, and we would love to hear from you guys and gals. And, of course, you can always watch us on Facebook. So those of you guys got out there on Facebook, we're going to give you the big wave, say hello and good morning and all that kind of stuff. I'm Captain Jim Ross, and we're going to do this thing we call Catch a Memory for the next 2 hours. So stick around, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy the ride. We're going to have a lot of fun today. I got a really, really good guy in the studio this morning. Like that happens, like that doesn't happen every week, right? But I got Captain Jonathon Moss in this morning from the Captain's Log. And I keep mixing your business name up and John Lulay's business name up. So forgive me, but yours is
Go Castaway.
Fishing Charters. So, Jonathon, you've been what, full-time now? 8, 9, 10 years?
10 years.
10 years.
Up on 11.
A full decade. A decade plus.
Yeah.
Living the dream,
yes,
brother.
Sir.
Heck yeah,
yes,
living the dream. Well, I mean, this month, I just went, as of actually on the 12th, full-time, 28 years. I was part-time 2 years before that, but went full-time 28 years ago today. And it seems like just yesterday. It doesn't seem like a quarter of a century has passed, It's just crazy. And the thing I love about it is, I still, at coming up on pushing 3 decades into this business, I still get to go to work every single day.
This time of year, it's slicked out early morning. I'm running across the river, and I'm seeing the sun come up, and I'm just so blessed and so reminded all the time of how lucky I am.
Indeed.
Before guiding, I was a full-time PE teacher. I taught in Orlando for Orange County Public Schools.
Well, that's still a fun job.
And it was a fun job.
Yeah.
The kids were great. I'm seeing some of my former students are now getting their captain's license and out running charters. I think that's really cool. The worst part about it were the parents and the adults and the politics. The kids were the best part about it. But I tell you, I don't miss it 1 second. And it's hard for me to believe that it's been 10 years of guiding. It felt like I taught for a long time, but now I've been guiding for way longer than I taught.
So that's a good question. What got you into being a faculty member, a school teacher?
Oh, I'll tell you,
a mentor
3 reasons.
Type of a figurehead.
Yeah, 3 reasons. June, July, and August. That's the joke. Summertime.
Right.
No, I had a job working with children as a summer camp leader for the city of Orlando, and really just love seeing those light bulb moments. I love teaching a kid and watching them get it, And back then I'm still into fitness, but back then I was really into fitness and sports. So that was able to transition what I was doing as a summer job to, hey, I switched my degree. I was going to UCF. I was going for hospitality management at the time. I swapped to education. I thought, well, I can't be in a classroom and inside walls. I would go bananas.
Yes.
So I did PE because that was my wheelhouse, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the classes. I love teaching. I love those light bulb moments. Now, as a full-time fishing guide, I still get those light bulb moments
every day.
Yeah, and I do take.
Day.
We talked about it off air. We do get a lot of opportunities to take people fishing who have no experience how to fish. You talked about a guy wanting to go catch blue marlin. He had no idea, right? But when you have the opportunity to now educate somebody, show them our passion, show them why we do what we do, why we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
It went from a recreational hobby to a job, and some days it feels like a job, but most of the time there's daily reminders of, man, how blessed are we that we get to go out here and stalk fish, chase fish.
It truly is. And for all of the minor inconveniences that we have to put up with, the blown tires, the hubs that smoke on the way to the boat ramp at 6 o'clock in the morning, for all of the tangled lines we have to undo. There's just such satisfaction in watching a person, like you said, that light bulb goes on and they get it. Or that light bulb, maybe it's that non-fisher person that's just along for the ride. Maybe it's a corporate outing, and guys like, well, I don't feel like going to work, so I'm going to go on this fishing trip thing that they've got planned for the rest of the gang. But I'm just going to, if I see a dolphin or a pelican, I'll be pretty cool with it, And then that guy, and you get him out there, and he doesn't know which end of the rod to hold on to, and you show him how to hold it and how to treat him like you would almost a child. And say, hey, this is how you cast, this is how you reel, this is how we're going to, get the hook set in the fish. In that first run of that first fish and that rod bending and tugging, and you watch that smile light up, buddy, I am telling you, you just created a new enthusiast.
It clicks in their head.
Yeah.
They get it. They go, this is what you're
doing. This is the dopamine, the adrenaline, the whatever. This is the fix that you guys keep talking about. And what's interesting, and I know you see this as well, when your customer, because we live vicariously through our customers every day, when you see your customer and he comes tight on that fish and that fish starts fighting back and he's like, oh my goodness, and he starts lighting up and just getting it, that you get that rush too. Yep. Because hey, that guy somebody just turned the lights on in this guy's world.
And think about you don't do it as much anymore, but for me, I'm in the pulling skiff.
Yeah,
I'm in my kayak, and we're actively pursuing. I'm pushing the boat. I'm seeing the fish. Most of the time, I see the fish first, and now I'm presenting that to my customer. Hey, they're here at 10 o'clock, 60 feet. You see it? I want them to find the fish, and then they lock into that fish, and now we're a team. We were a team the whole time, but now we're like.
Now you're both on the same. You're both in the same page of the playbook at this point.
Absolutely. And then he makes that presentation, and then the fish reacts, and now all of a sudden, game on, baby. We're going after it, right? And it doesn't end there. I'm still having to navigate the boat in a way where I'm pulling the fish away from mangroves. I'm getting the boat set up. I'm watching my power pull. I'm thinking about my push pull. I'm thinking about, okay, I got to get down. I got to get the net. I got to make sure this person is, and it's still communicating to the angler because I don't want them to. Again, we're going to someone who might not have the experience. I don't want them to freak out or do something wrong or high stick it or reel against the drag. Like, there's so many things going on. Yeah. And yet, that adrenaline is just boom, boom, boom. Your heart's just pumping. Man, love it.
I think, honestly, I believe that the adrenaline rush that we get from that every day keeps us young. I see guys my age that I went to high school with, and I'll see them out at, my wife and I will go to dinner or we'll meet somebody and while we're out, and I'm like, dang, that dude looks like he's half crippled and broke down, and it's like, he's in a desk job, or he's in a, he's doing something that is work, that he has to go to work, that he doesn't get to go to work, and dude, there's a huge difference in that. So we are blessed. We truly are blessed, and I know everybody out there is like, yeah, you're bragging about your job, and mine sucks, and I hate going to work, but. Don't take it that way. Take it. Here's the way I would, because I got kicked out of the corporate world. Okay, literally, I walk into work one night and they're like, "You don't have a job anymore." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" I've been busting my butt for this company for 8 years, putting in the overtime, helping in other departments. It's not even my job description. I'm still helping guys out. It's a team. We got to get this thing. We got to get this product out the door. Oh, sorry. Now you're just a. Yeah, I understand that. Last month you were employee of the month. We understand that. But this month you're just a number, and we just don't need you anymore because we have to cut budget. And it's like, when you realize that can happen to you, that is, when you just become a number, that becomes a difficult thing to deal with. And so when we're out on the water trying to make things happen, there isn't that fear of, hey, I might get on the boat and then all of a sudden I don't have a job anymore. It's I got a job every single day that I'm on this boat. And so it's just a whole different concept. It's a different way of looking at things. And I think, like you say, the morning views, the running across the lagoon at sunrise, the, watching the dolphins and the manatees and the mullet play, and the interaction of everything that's out there, the herons and everything that's just working along the shorelines. It's a great way to make a living, but it's not an easy job. It's just a fun job.
I'll say my boss is a jerk. He doesn't give me PTO.
Oh, no,
he makes me work the weekends, makes me work when it's raining. Mine too.
Yeah, sometimes I kick that guy, and I want to kick that guy, and it's like, man, this is because I know I've got a report I got to write. I've got 3 reels that I've got to re-spool. I got a handle on my reel that is broken because we dropped it, banged it, did whatever we did. There's a lot of that, but I still get to go to work tomorrow morning. And when I go to sleep at night, every single day I think to myself, tomorrow's going to be the day. It's going to be the day. We're going to crush it tomorrow. Yep. I know we had a good day today, or we had a horrible day today, but we're going to crush it tomorrow. Yep. There's that eternal optimism. I think that's what a fisherman has to be, is he has to be an eternal optimist, because without that optimism on that, you might get that bite on the next cast. And we'll just one more cast. Just one more. I know I haven't had a bite in 30 casts, but just one more and I might get that bite. And that eternal optimism, I think, is what keeps me going.
Yeah, yeah. And you have to, when you have those moments, being a guide recently we lost a captain who committed suicide on the West Coast. And it happens. There is a lot of pressure for us as guides to every day put our clients on quality fish. Yeah. And we have to remember, you've been doing this for 30 years, okay? You've been fishing longer than that. I've been fishing my entire life. We have a lot of knowledge and experience and time on the water, and yet there are still days where it's a grind.
Oh, yeah.
There are days where the fish are just like, nah, man. They don't have fingers. They have fins, and they're giving us the fin, right?
Fin, they are.
Where they are shaking their head and spitting a hook, or they're breaking you off in the mangroves, or you, for some reason your hook's turned to rubber, right? And they're just flipping right out of their mouths. Those days happen, but you have to remind yourself, hey, we are human, we are people, and more than just catching fish, I'm here to entertain someone. I'm here to spend time with someone, get to know someone, because a lot of the people I take fishing, you said it earlier, it's the guy or the gal that, hey, I'm not at work today. I'm doing something completely different today. I don't care. I can't tell how many people get in my boat. I don't care what happens today. I'm just so thankful I'm not here.
Not on the boat.
A lot of times it's dads at Disney World. I'm so glad I'm not at Disney World. Yeah. Sometimes as people are here for conferences and conventions, like, I'm so glad I'm not in that building freezing, sitting there listening to some guy talking. It's really boring.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens.
They tell me about my job, and I'm already doing my job. So
exactly.
It's like, yeah. No, I get that.
Well, we are very blessed, my friend. We're very blessed.
We are. And, whenever I look at the ways that my life could have turned out, I thought that I would be, when I was working in the corporate world, I had my entire life planned basically at that point. I said, okay, by age 55, I'm going to have this much money saved up, at this particular accrual rate, and I'm going to have this much to live on, and I'm going to have this much to play on, and I'm going to go around the world, and I'm going to fish everywhere. I'm going to fish Australia. I'm going to fish in Japan. I'm going to fish in Hawaii. I'm going to fish in Alaska. I was just, the areas and the species I was going to chase were just unlimited. I was, I had all this stuff planned out about what I was going to do. And to have that as a young 20-year-old pull a rug out from under you and go, hey, man, your entire life that you thought was going to happen, guess what? No. God had a different plan for me.
Right.
He says, nope, you're not going fishing whenever, wherever, and however you want when you're 55 years old and you think you're going to retire. We're putting you into fishing now. And so, guess what?
Plans to prosper you, my friend.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing. Now, do I have money to go travel all over the world? No. Will I ever in this business? No. But I get to go every day right here in my backyard. And that's so satisfying. And, you were just talking about good days and bad days.
I was very, very fortunate this week. I had the crowd that I had on Tuesday, I got to take back out yesterday. My guy for yesterday wasn't feeling too good, canceled the trip. I told my guys from Tuesday, hey, there's a possibility we can get back out if you're interested. And because I'm looking for redemption. Because on Tuesday, we hooked fish, but we only landed 1 8-inch trout. And I know I told you this before we went on there. 1 trout all day, or all morning, it was a 4-hour trip, 8 inches. And, and it's like, how, we lost the snook, we lost the tarpon, we lost the whatever else that we had hooked. We just couldn't get anything to stick on the hook. And so yesterday, first 5 casts, first 6 casts, we got a couple of trout and a couple of snook in the boat. I mean, literally 4 minutes from the boat ramp, we're just barely even got away. I mean, barely even got on plane, and we're already, burning drags. And I'm like, so I looked at the main fella, and I was like, better.
See, I know what I'm doing.
I was like, better, and he's like, way better, just way better. So with that note, we're going to take a break. We'd love to hear from you guys and gals. Give us a shout here at 321-632-1000 if you've been on the water lately. Captain Jonathon Moss and myself are going to be right back after these messages. Is now the top soft plastic lure brand for saltwater. Sea trout, tarpon, redfish, and snook hammer the Saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad. With its amazing swimming action, this lure sets the bar for swim bait designs. Other companies continue to try, but none have been able to replicate the action of this incredible minnow-style lure. But Assassin has other proven designs. I like the native shiner-colored 5-inch Shad Assassin. That's my go-to lure when I'm targeting big gator trout. Redfish love the Drunk Monkey or the mudbug-colored 4-inch Assassin Shrimp Cocktail. And you can rig these on a weedless worm hook or the amazing Assassin Springlock jig head. Now, these are just a few of my favorite Assassin lures. Check out what top professional anglers have known for years. Assassin lures simply catch more fish, and you can get them at your local tackle store or go to bassassassin.com and get some of these fantastic lures for yourself today. Starbright Premium Marine Polish helps keep your boat looking great. This easy-to-apply premium polish uses polymers instead of wax, so it lasts up to 3 times longer than traditional boat wax. The polymers in Starbright Premium Marine Polish are also easier to apply, block UV rays better, and help keep fish blood, slime, and poop and other stuff from sticking to your gel coat. Starbright Premium Marine Polish isn't a wax, it's a sealer. It's safe for all fiberglass, paints, and polished metals. You won't believe how awesome Starbright Premium Marine Polish will make your car or truck look too. Wax is for surfboards, not boats. Protect your boat with Starbright Premium Marine Polish. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate y'all tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Direct Graphics, so make sure if you need anything to promote your business, get over to Direct Graphics and let them help you out with it. They can design it, print it, install it if you need it installed, whether it's a sign, whether it's a billboard, whether it's a wrap for your boat, your vehicle, your trailer, whatever it happens to be. They can do anything from business cards to billboards. So 321-631-1001. That's 321-631-1001, and they can take care of you right there at Direct Graphics. You know, Jonathan, you were just talking. You were saying that you've been listening to some. I guess you're listening to a podcast or something of hunting shows or
Absolutely,
something like that.
yeah.
So I still listen to the radio. I don't have this mindset or this awareness that there's all of this content out here to listen to. It's kind of interesting, but you know, today's the opening day in Zone C here in Florida for hunting.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm not going to get a chance probably to hunt this weekend, unfortunately. But you never know. And 2, next weekend, I will get a chance to do maybe have a sit or 2 in the woods. Tino Villaverde from All About Archery has invited me up to his place. And so we are going to go up there, and he's got some does he needs thinned out. You know, a lot of guys are like, the more does the better, the more does the better. And when you look at what is a good buck to doe ratio, that math doesn't equate. And you would think, you know, a lot of, especially the older guys, you know, my age and even older, it's like, oh, the more does I can have on my property, the more chance I have at a buck coming in and, you know, sniffing around for some does when the rut starts. But what's been kind of determined by the biologists and actually, you know, hunters themselves, is that if you decrease your doe to buck ratio, that's when you have a better chance of actually getting that true, Boone and Crockett size buck, or that true, monster that's the big boy on your particular property or hunting lease. And the reason is if there's a lot of does, all he has to do is go, 100 yards here or 100 yards there, and he can grab himself a doe. And hey, he'll get her and lock her down. You're not getting away, you're staying here, and he will, breed that doe for, a day or two. And then he'll go find another doe, and he'll breed her for a day or two. Well, if you thin the does out, now he can't just go 100 yards and find a doe. Now he's got to go 1,000 yards or 2,000 yards and find a doe. And so the more he has to travel out of his little tiny thicket, his little core window area, his home place, the more he has to travel to go find a doe, the more likely you are to have him come across your path and be able to harvest that animal. And so Tino, obviously, very, very smart guy, incredible hunter. Typically, this guy's killing beautiful animals every single year. And he and his wife Cheryl are just, really, really good couple as far as when you look at an example of how do you properly manage property and harvest off of that property, but still be, very responsible. He's an extremely responsible guy. So long story short, there are needs to pull does out of there. And when you have a couple of does that come in a pack, I'm always looking which doe doesn't have the fawn. That's my number one. Well, which doe is number one is which doe is mature. It's like, okay, who's the biggest doe in the bunch? Okay, because obviously I want to get the most yield off of that animal that I'm harvesting as possible. And okay, so then there's two or three of the same size. Well, which one is the doe relating to? And you kind of watch that interaction. If you get the opportunity, if you've got a clearing or whatever, you get that opportunity and watch the interaction, and you can tell which doe and fawn, are in that parental and child relationship. So now that eliminates, sometimes maybe you'll have 5 or 6 does come in. Maybe that eliminates 2 or 3 of them at least. And so now you can isolate it down to, which one is the best to harvest for you. But in some cases you don't get that. In some cases it's just a single doe walking by, and she's not got a fawn trailing her, and she's not got a buck with her. She's just by herself. That's the harder shot to make, or the harder shot to call, because you're like, I don't have any reference point, this doe compared to another doe. Yeah, she looks big. Yeah, she doesn't look big, whatever happens to be. But when you have 2 or 3 that are together, then you can truly choose the best one for you if you get that opportunity. And when you're gun hunting, it's much, much easier. Gun hunting, if they can be 150 yards out there, who cares? I mean, you can drop them. I know with my gun, I'm solid, rock solid to 300 yards. And probably if I wanted to push it to 500, as long as I calculated my bullet holdover, I probably would be pretty good. But inside of 300 yards, if I pull the trigger, it goes down.
Yeah.
And I cannot, but with bow hunting, it's inside of 40 yards and pretty much inside of 30 yards. I've only taken 2 shots at deer outside of 30 yards. And one of them was facing completely away from me. So I felt very confident that she wasn't going to be able to duck the string, hear the noise from the bow. And I shoot a Hoyt, so it's super quiet anyway. And then another one was just standing broadside looking at something in the woods. And I don't know what it was, but she was fully focused in the opposite direction. Both ears were facing away from me. Her head was facing away from me. So I was like, this is a perfect scenario. But most of the time I'm looking 22 to 25 yards. And that's really the sweet spot, is if you're 20 to 25 yards, you can absolutely just whack just about anything that walks in front of you. And So, going back to the doe buck scenario, whenever you have a lot of animals on a piece of property, if you can harvest a couple of those off, especially mid, if you can do it prior to the rut, great. But if you can do it mid rut or after the rut, the deer after the rut, not so much, because they're not really seeking the does at that point, but they will kind of hang with them a little more. The does are a little more tolerant of them because they realize that they're not being chased anymore. There's kind of like, the girl, the pretty girl sitting at the bar, every guy wants to go up and hit on her. Well, a doe in the woods is the same way during rut. Every guy in the bar wants to go hit on her. Right. And so she's like, I don't want to have anything to do with you. But when the guy just walks up, stands next to her and orders a drink, and he kind of goes, hey, how you doing? And takes his beer and walks away, she's not being pursued anymore. She feels more comfortable. And so, those are the things that you kind of have to keep in mind.
This is hunting and dating advice.
Yeah, and dating advice at the same time. Yeah. But those are the things that you kind of have to keep in mind. And so a lot of guys they'll say, man, I just want all the does I can possibly get, and that makes for some tough hunting. It really does. It makes for some tough hunting. So because that buck does not have to go very far to find that next doe. And you really want him out looking for that next doe when it's that time of the year.
Well, this is the information, like I told you on the break, I didn't grow up hunting. And now I feel like I'm pursuing this hunting side for a few reasons. One, I love the idea, and this comes from the fishing side as well, I love the idea of providing for my family. I'm harvesting an animal and using that animal to feed my family.
Yep.
And I always joke with clients. They'll say, "Oh man, last week I harvested an elk." I'm like, "How's that elk meat?" He goes, "Oh, it's fantastic." "Oh, I don't believe you. You need to bring me some next time."
Yeah,
right?
I don't believe you.
Exactly. So you're eating an animal and you're using that animal the way God intended us.
Oh yeah.
To have dominion over the animals, but yet there's regulation side to it. There's management side to it. There's science side to it, and all of those work together so you can properly use that resource. And then the second side of that is I'm like a sponge. Like I'm listening to you talk and I'm visualizing, I'm processing, I'm thinking, I'm learning, I'm being educated. And so we started this by saying, I'm listening to a lot of different podcasts. I'm searching those online and then finding them on my phone. I live in Orlando. I drive to the coast every day. I have an hour drive each way. I have 2 hours in the car where I can take time to educate myself.
Yeah.
And I can learn. And then I spend time with guys like yourself, and I've got clients from all over who I feel like every year, Jonathan, come up here and go hunting with me. And I'm like, yes, under one condition. I want to learn. I don't want you to hand me the rod with the fish already on it.
Right.
I want to go step by step through the processes.
I have been very, very fortunate with that regard, the learning aspect. My best friend is just an incredible archer. Okay. Incredible. And this guy he really drills into you when you're standing there shooting at the foam in the backyard or out in the field or wherever you happen to be shooting. He drills into you, dude. If you're not sure about the shot, you don't pull the trigger. You don't squeeze the trigger on the release. You just don't do it. And you want to be 99.9% sure, there's maybe not 100%, but 99.9% sure that when you squeeze that trigger, you are on target. And just drilling into meat, repetitiveness, do it exactly, when you have success, do it exactly the same way the next time, and exactly the same way the next time. Just replicate that success, and it becomes muscle memory. And then 2 is, I've had a couple of really good opportunities. One is my friend Jody Calderon. They had a 7,000 acre ranch that they actually just sold over from St. Cloud almost to Kenansville. Wow. I'm just a huge piece of tract of land that I got to go hunt on over there. Another customer of mine, Arthur Ty, who's recently passed away a little over a year ago. He was super instrumental in teaching me how to look for signs, how to, track deer, how to track hogs, how to, try and interpret where the animal was going to be and when, and, everything's cyclic. Every 3 to 4 days, a buck is going to come through the same area, kind of cruising. And so if you can time that buck out, obviously that helps. But we would just be riding along on the four-wheelers, and he would stop. And he would go, "Do you see anything?" We're in the middle of the woods, we're in palm meadows and pine trees and oak trees and, gallberry bushes and all the other stuff that grow in the woods. "You see anything?" And I'd go, okay. Well, he saw something, obviously. He saw something that was important. So we'd stop the four-wheeler, we'd get off, and I'd start looking around. And I see a track, or I see a, whatever. And you're always kind of looking for tracks when you're in the woods anyway. It's kind of like when you're driving from spot A to spot B. Right. In the boat, you're always looking for the fish. Right. Did something blow up over there? Did I see some bait spray? Are the pelicans diving? You're always looking for signs. So we would just stop. And I tell you what, we're going to take a break, because then I'll finish the rest of the story after that, because it's a really cool story that if you can get a mentor like this, man, it's golden. It's invaluable. So we're going to take our next break. Captain Jonathon Moss and myself, Jim Ross, are going to be right back after these messages. We love to kick back and relax at either of their waterfront locations with a cool tropical frozen drink and some of the freshest island-style seafood around. Grills is known for its fantastic food quality, like their bacon-wrapped scallops, shrimp Cuban sandwich, or one-of-a-kind Bahamian fish chowder. The Tiki Deck features some of the area's best local bands throughout the week, plus Grills has a fantastic breakfast menu, too. Chill out at Grills' original location in the Cove at Port Canaveral, right next to Sunrise Marina, or check out Grills' Riverside location on Highway US 1, just north of the Pineda Causeway. Go to www.grillsseafood.com for more information, and remember, it all happens at Grills. Nobody likes to pay for insurance, but you have to have it. So do what I did. Go to Petrucci Insurance. They're your local independent insurance agent, and they're here to make sure you get the right policy to fit your insurance needs at the best price available. I gave Petrucci Insurance a call. They reviewed my current policy and saved me $700 on my home insurance alone. Plus, Petrucci found me better coverage than the policy I had with my other company that I'd been with for years. Don't waste money another day. Call Petrucci Insurance at 321-632-1200. That's 321-632-1200. And stop wasting money on your home, car, boat, and life insurance today. Trailer problems can be a real day breaker. When you need to go to the area's best trailer supply and repair shop, try Ferguson's. Family owned and operated since 1954 and located on Highway 192 in West Melbourne, Ferguson's has a huge supply of trailer tires, wheels, axles, lights, jacks, and other trailer parts in stock. If you're not a do-it-yourselfer, stop by and pick up the parts you need. If not, let their expert staff do the repairs for you. Ferguson's also installs electric brake controllers, trailer hitches, and goosenecks. They have a full line of automotive and marine interstate batteries, so if you need a trailer maintenance, repair part, or a new Continental boat trailer, go to the best trailer shop on the Space Coast, Ferguson's. Check them out at fergusonstrailersupply.com or call their shop at 321-723-5425. Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. Grab a cup of coffee. We got some stories this morning. We're going to be talking about some fishing in just a little bit as well. But, right now we're going to let you know that inglecoolers.com is where you need to go. My wife, here's a perfect example. Here's a perfect testimonial, okay? My wife, I come home yesterday, okay? And she's been working in an office 2 days a week and then out in the field 3 days a week. She's been taking a cup to work with her, a cup of water to work with her every day. And I've got some Yeti cups, and I've got some Arctic cups, and I've got some no-name cups, and we've got a lot of different cups, these high-performance cups. I come walking in the house, "Hey, babe, how you doing?" "Oh, great, great." She goes, "You know what?" She goes, "I just want to tell you, man, that Ingle blows those other ones away." And I'm like, what do you mean?" She says, "I put ice in it this morning, and it's like 5 in the afternoon." She goes, "It's still half full of ice." She goes, "The Yeti that I took 2 days ago was almost gone by noon." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's why I like the Ingles so much." And she's like, I can't believe it. She goes, the difference in how much colder that cup keeps things than any of the other cups that I've taken, into the office or out in the field is amazing. So there you go. There's your testimonial from Rob and Ross about why you need to go to EngleCoolers.com or your local Engle retailer and get yourself an Engle whatever product that you happen to like, because they make a bunch of stuff. They make everything from little dry boxes to, Orca-proof coolers to you can get yourself a little refrigerator freezer unit that plugs into your boat or into your car or whatever you happen to need. And, of course, they make the best tumblers around, according to my wife. So there you have it, EngleCoolers.com. Get you one. Enjoy.
Love it.
So going back to our story that we had going on. So we're riding along on the ATVs. Now we're riding along at 15 to 20 mile an hour, whatever you're doing, and all of a sudden we stop. What do you see? Arthur says, what do you see? I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, well, there was something going on here, something going on there. You can see in the sand, let's say. He goes, you see this right here? Yeah, what is that? It looks like a worm in the sand. It looks like just a little kind of a short, almost like a caterpillar or something. He goes, that's a turkey poop. And we're riding along at 15, 20 mile an hour, and he sees this thing that's an inch long, inch and a half long. That's a turkey poop. Oh, okay. What kind was it? Well, I don't know. Well, the hens and the jakes sort of make a straight poop. Gobblers make a J-looking poop. It's got a curve in it. He goes, what do you think made that one? Well, it's curved. He goes, there's your Tom. Now, who knows this, right? I mean, it's like, who knows this? But, that's the kind of stuff when you have a guy that knows the woods and knows the animals in that fashion, dude, buddy up with that dude. Buddy up with that dude, because you are going to learn stuff that you never knew you didn't even need to, that you never knew that you needed to learn.
Regardless of the industry. When I was a kid, playing music, growing up playing guitar, my dad would take me to the music store and say, go find somebody who sounds like they know what they're doing, sounds like they're better than you. Just sit there and watch for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that person is not going to tell you to walk away. You're weird sitting here watching. They're going to see that you are interested, and they're going to pass that knowledge along to you. No matter your industry, having mentors, having people in your life that can educate you, that can teach you. I want to learn all this stuff from the hunting side so I can educate my kids. Like, I'm already doing that with the fishing side. My dad taught me. I grew up fishing. Yeah. He educated me to a point where then I took his knowledge and then I added to it. I got it my own knowledge. And now with the hunting side, it's like I want to find that next person where I can, not in a using them sense, but where I can take that generational knowledge, learn it, apply it, and then pass it along to my kids and continue that. And then it goes back to the management, from fisheries to hunting. We are called to be good stewards, to manage these waterways and our lands correctly so that we can generationally continue to do these activities.
Exactly.
There's so much to it, man. And I tell you, I said earlier, I've been like a sponge recently, just soaking it all in and learning, and it's been fun. Part of the fun is because it's different than what I'm used to. And so my brain's having to think differently. There are a lot of parallels.
I was going to say, there's a lot of similarities.
Of similarities. Yeah. I've had it presented to me that archery is like the fly fishing of hunting. I've had some really good friends try to get me into it a few years ago, saying, "Dude, this is just like throwing fly and sight fishing." And you're talking about your shots when that 20 to 25 yards. I'm thinking, that's fly fishing.
Your window.
Right there, So there's just. I don't know, there's so much to learn.
The neat thing to me about shooting a gun, or about shooting a compound bow, even my crossbow. I don't use my crossbow very much, but when you're shooting and you're touching holes, or you're within, if you got a 3-inch diameter circle, and you're in all 2 or 3 shots are inside of that little 3-inch circle. And especially if you can get the holes to touch, that's money. That means you're that replication. For success, you're replicating it and you're doing it properly. And when I first started shooting my bow, and my best friend Dave, he's like, dude, he goes, you just got to shoot. He goes, you're kind of all over the place right now. And I'm like, what do you mean all over the place? I'm in the target. And he's like, no. He goes, your arrows need to touch. He goes, when you start crashing arrows into one another, that's when you know that you're getting close to being pretty good. Because there's still a lot of other factors that get involved. The adrenaline spike when you hear something or you don't hear something, and all of a sudden you see something standing in front of you. You see that doe, you see that buck, you see that hog, and all of a sudden there he is. And hogs, you hear them coming a mile away. They sound like turkeys running, or squirrel bucks running through the woods. I mean, they don't know how to be quiet. But it's amazing that 8-point deer can step out in front of you, and you are in a dead silent situation, and you didn't even know he was in the same zip code that you were, and then all of a sudden he's 20 yards. That's pretty cool. That's mastery of your surroundings. When you can move through it like a ghost, and nothing knows you're there until they visibly can see you, that's pretty cool.
And we have those same situations in the water. Where the redfish all of a sudden pop up and they're tailing, and you see them and you move forward, and then where'd they go?
They're gone.
I see no water movement. I didn't see any pushes. They just disappear. Houdinis.
But that adrenaline rush, when your heart starts pumping, and you're getting ready to draw or whatever, waiting for your opportunity to draw, so that he's not looking in your direction to see any movement from you drawing your bow or whatever it happens to be. All of those seconds are minutes in your mind, and you can replay them and replay them and replay them. And when you come to full draw and you get your release locked in against your lower part of your jaw, and you got that pin exactly where you want that pin to be, everything from that point forward comes back to all the time that you put in shooting at that foam. Yep. Because when you're standing there shooting at the foam, there's no pressure. All there is pull the bow back, shoot at the target, hit the target. Go retrieve your arrows, go back, pull the bow back, shoot the target, hit the target. In this case, your target could potentially move. In this case, your chest is thumping so hard that you can feel it in your ears and your eyes are pulsing. It's boom, 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 because he's right there. And you want to, when you get to that point, when you get to the locked in, pin on the spot point, that's when all of that practice in the backyard or in the field, that's when all of that comes to fruition. Because now you're going to split hairs. You're going to hit exactly the spot that you wanted to hit because you've done this time and time and time again. And you just have to remember to breathe.
Yeah.
Just inhale and exhale, just like you're shooting a gun. Just take your time and breathe. But it's really cool. The arrow flies, you see the impact, and most of the time, whenever you hit properly, whenever you have practice to the point that you hit exactly the hair that you wanted to hit, the animal doesn't go far. Doesn't go far at all.
Love it.
But I'm telling you, the adrenaline is infectious in that scenario. Infectious, because you just cannot get enough of that. You're like, man, that was the best thing in the world, and now you're on a high. You're on the roller coaster of your life for the next hour, because it's just like, woo! I can't believe everything came together, and I just harvested this nice animal. And every animal you harvest with a bow is truly a trophy. Guys like, oh, it's just it's a 105-pound doe. Dude, you just outwitted one of the smartest animals in the woods with a stick and a string. You were in his wheelhouse, if you will. You were in his living room. You were in his bedroom or her bedroom. You were there, and she never knew it. That is the coolest part about it, is that when you can watch their eyelashes bat, and you can watch them, chewing if they're eating a piece of grass or some corn or whatever it happens to be, when you can see all that up close and she never knows you're there, that's success. Because there's so many days that you don't get that, because you'll hear 50, 80, 100 yards off, and she's blowing. And you're like, oh, you got to be kidding. I haven't moved. And she's 50 yards across the woods and already knows I'm here. So that's the part that you get with the bow that you typically don't get with the gun. Because with the gun, you're sitting at 100, 150 yards a lot of times. They don't even know you're in the same zip code. But with the bow, I mean, it's up close and personal. We're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more with myself and Jonathan, so don't go away. We're going to be back after these messages. Lures from No Live Bait Needed, Rapala, Mirror Lure, and Saltwater Assassin, and one of the largest selections of coolers and boating supplies in the entire state. Well, Ace Hardware in Titusville, that's who. Ace in Titusville is your one-stop shop for all of the fishing and boating supplies you'll need. Ace is just minutes away from the Titusville boat ramps, and their parking lot allows you to get in and out even when you're trailering your boat. Check out the largest selection of fishing and boating gear in the northern Space Coast area at Ace Hardware in Titusville on US 1.
If you listen to this show, you know Captain Jim Ross is a leading authority on light tackle fishing on Florida's Space Coast. Jim grew up on the banks of the Indian River Lagoon and has been a full-time fishing guide for almost 30 years. In that time, Jim's clients have landed over 30,000 trout, redfish, snook, and tarpon from our local waters. So if you're looking for an experienced fishing guide to take you on your next fishing adventure, book a trip with Captain Jim Ross. Just go to finelinefishingcharters.com to book your next trip with Captain Jim and get ready to catch.
Hey, let me tell you about
memory.
Realtor Daniel Hart. He's a guy that really cares about helping his community and our local lagoons. Daniel has already donated thousands of dollars to the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project from the proceeds of property he sells, and he continues to do this every time he helps one of you buy or sell a property. This makes a huge impact each year for the water quality of our lagoons. Daniel is also passionate about first responders throughout his community. Through his Heroes Real Estate Group, Heroes Rebate Program, Daniel has personally donated over $70,000 to help police, firefighters, veterans, and even school teachers by returning money to them from the purchases of their homes. Going above and beyond for you is what Realtor Daniel Hart is all about. If you're buying or selling a property, call Realtor Daniel Hart to help. Daniel can be reached at 407-247-3894.
Hey guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. We're going to do the boating and fishing conditions for this segment of the show real quick. We've got north wind today, 10 to 15 knots, and it's going to stay that way through the evening. 3 to 5 foot seas with a dominant period of about 8 seconds. So it doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun on the ocean today. Ponce Buoy, 13 miles offshore. Ponce is 83 degrees with a 5 foot seas at 6 seconds. And the 4 mile buoy out of Canaveral, 84 degrees, 2 feet at 8 seconds. Sounds a little better down there. The shoal's kind of knocking some of that swell down. And then the 20 mile buoy was 85 degrees and 4 foot at 7 seconds, which is not much fun. The 6 mile buoy out of Fort Pierce, 85 degrees as well. And then 3 foot at 9 seconds down there. So the wind isn't quite as strong down that way, it doesn't look like. Western edge of the Gulf Stream, 46 nautical miles out of Ponce, 33 out of Canaveral, and 28 out of Sebastian. And then the tides, you've got a high tide at 1:06 p.m. today at Port Canaveral, and a low tide at 7:37 p.m. today at Port Canaveral. The Sebastian tides, you've got a 1:14 p.m. high today and a 7:37 p.m. low today. And then I need to check the fishing, Soul Lunars, brought to you by All About Archery. We just coming off of a really, really good major. It was from 5 to 7 this morning. We're just kind of coming off of that. But we've got another one from 5:40 to 7:40 p.m. tonight. So guess what? If you're going out for that evening sit, looks like a good time to be in the woods. Or if you're going out to the jetty or going fishing this afternoon after the rains, once again, good time to be on the water. The minor activity is going to be from about 1:04 p.m. to about 2:04 p.m. today. And, yesterday we were on the water down in Sebastian. And that time yesterday was 40 minutes or so earlier, 30 minutes or so earlier. From noon until 1 o'clock yesterday was actually a really strong bite. We had some really good fish. I was telling you about the one trout we had was a monster. I mean, it was probably the biggest trout that I've had a customer hook this year. I'm going to say it was somewhere between 27 and 29 inches. I don't think it would have quite hit 30. But when you start off thinking you've got a snook on, until he comes up and shakes his head,
It becomes a drought.
and then you're like, oh, man, look at this thing. But we caught some other good ones. We caught trout up to, up into the 20-inch range yesterday. And there's a lot of 17, 18-inch fish down in the Grant, Valcaria, Mico, Wabasso area right now. So if you're looking for a place to go, just pull on some fish, those trout they're real user friendly. Topwater plugs, jigs, live baits. They're hitting them all. And then obviously you've got tarpon down there. There's some big jacks running around. Wednesday we got into a school of really big ones, 20 plus pounders, and right there on the flat. Oh yeah,
so much fun. And
there's quite a few schools of little ones running around. So, and of course the snook have been pretty solid down there too. Snook are holding on any windward point or any point that has current on it. You're going to get a snook. So there's a lot of good fishing going on down there right now. So if you guys and gals get a chance, go down there and give it a try. Well, Jonathan, we've got north winds, and on a north wind, I know that we were talking before the show. It's like north wind can be a pain, but yesterday I actually used that wind to my advantage, and so I want to tell the listeners out there: don't be afraid of the wind. Sometimes it can actually help you in the beginning of the season. Now, a north wind in January? No. Stay home. You're not catching anything. By February, a north wind is good again. And here's why. In the beginning of the season, you've got a lot of heat. The north wind, northwest, northeast, it creates a slightly cooler scenario. Better temperature, better fishing. The fish have been hot all summer, so now they're like
ready for that.
Yeah, it's just like us. We go outside, or it's hot, and you come back in the air conditioning, you're like, oh, it feels so much better. So that north wind in the beginning of the year, the beginning of the fall, winter time frame, I don't mind it at all. In fact, I think it enhances in some cases your bite. Now in January, late December through all of January, north wind, the fish they're like, no, we're going to wait. We're going to wait.
Cuts right through.
We're going to wait until day 3 or day 4 when it finally swings around to the east or southeast, and then we're going to eat pretty good. And we're going to fill up for the next 2 or 3 days because their metabolism's so slow at that time of the year. And then you start to get those little bit of warming trends. And then all of a sudden, that north wind doesn't become as much of a factor anymore. It's not that biting, cutting, hard north wind. It's still north, but the fish are like, it's okay. We're good with it.
Yeah.
But yesterday, so looking at these tides, let me go back to the tides here. So Sebastian, the high tide is around, or the low tide today is around 7:23. So yesterday that meant it was probably right around 7, roughly, maybe just a little before 7. And the tide change in the inlet is about 3 hours after the fact. So as you go up the river towards Grant, Mico, Melbourne area, or down Wabasso, Vero, now what you've got is a delayed tide change. And it can be as much as 5 or 6 hours in some cases. But in the area that I was fishing, sort of just around the inlet, it was about 3.5 to 4 hours after the actual beach tide. So around 10 o'clock, the tide turned and started going in the opposite direction, started going out. Well, the wind picked up out of the northeast actually, kind of north yesterday at first. So what I did was I used that north wind and that outgoing tide, and I fished from the inlet north along those shorelines and along those spoil islands and along those docks and various things, and hit spots where the wind was blowing onto the shore and the current was flowing from north to south towards the inlet. So it increased the amount of flow because the wind was helping to push it a little bit. That made for a better bite yesterday. Then later in the day, I went down, I ran a little farther to the south, and, well, I'm sorry, on the outgoing, it was outgoing first. So then a little later in the day, it changed and came incoming. So then I ran south of the inlet because the wind's blowing out of the north. If the current's trying to push to the north and the wind's blowing against it, it stifles everything. It slows it down. So I went south of the inlet and fished down there because you have that incoming water and that northeast blowing wind, and it creates a stronger push. And once again, so we never really had a point where we lost the bite yesterday.
Well, you talked earlier about replication.
Yeah.
You figured out a pattern. You figured out moving water from the wind. Now with the current switching, let me relocate. Let me reposition my boat so that I'm replicating that same pattern. Now I'm not on the north side. I'm on the south side because I've got an outgoing flow. Water's moving one way, or in your case, there's an incoming flow, and the wind is now pushing. I'm still having that same kind of movement, as opposed if you're on the other side, the incoming going north and the wind coming north, it's slowing down on that north side. So again, with whatever you're doing on the water or in the woods, you're replicating. You're figuring out what has become successful.
Oh, yeah.
Jotting down those notes in your head, or in my case, writing it in your captain's log.
Yeah.
Nice plug there. And then replicating that success. You know, it's once you start doing this long enough, it becomes more and more.
Nature.
Yeah, it becomes more and more obvious, and it's become second nature for it. Just like your buddy driving through the woods, seeing the turkey poop, it's becoming no big deal. He notices immediately, whereas people who are new to it are having to figure it out a little bit slower. But yeah, it's all about figuring out that pattern and then replicating it.
I'll tell you the other thing, that driving through the woods where we would stop every once in a while, rubs are pretty easy to see. I mean, you're driving through the woods, you're looking, there's a rub on that pine tree. There's a rub on that little hardwood. You can see rubs. That's not hard to find. Licking branches or licking sticks. So a lot of guys are like, what's a licking stick? A licking stick is something that a deer uses to mark scent. He scent marks. And in many cases, they'll actually chew. I mean, a lot of times I don't know, they think they're part beaver or something, because they'll chew through a 1-inch sapling and use that as their licking stick. And it's the craziest thing. I thought that this was just kind of, maybe in this case it was Arthur once again, and I thought, he's just messing with me, because this little sawed off looking piece of pine tree, a little pine sapling, didn't look like much. But I'm like, okay, I'm taking notice of it. And it was at a junction in the trails. So it was a marker post, right, is basically what it was. It was hey, this is my territory. And there was a buck working that area. In fact, it came up in my memories yesterday. I put $1 bill down next to this buck's track. And the buck's track is almost as big as the $1 bill.
Wow.
Okay? And it's the buck that I was actually able to harvest, the very first buck that I ever shot with my bow. And he was 10 points, weighed 172 pounds. So for a Florida buck, he was a pretty nice buck.
Yeah.
But I never saw him. I never saw this deer. But the licking stick gave it away, because he would hit that thing pretty regularly. You would see fresh sap coming off of it. And I don't know if they rub the sap on their heads, or I don't know what they do. They nose it and do all kinds of stuff, according to Arthur. I've never really followed up on that information. But this was a marker post, and with the sand and the trails being there, you would see when he would come and go. And so I set up just a little bit away from. I set up on the trail coming out of the cypress marsh, and got that deer. But I never would have gotten that deer. I mean, I might have seen the tracks, but if he wouldn't have stopped and pointed out that licking stick and said, keep an eye on that thing, because he's going to come back and hit it again and again and again. It's just one of those crazy little things that you learn. And like you said, if you don't have a mentor, how do you figure that out for yourself?
Right.
Somebody figured it out at some point, and then he shared that with me. So I'm sharing that with all the listeners. Find yourself a licking stick, and if you find that, you found a good buck. Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our top of the hour break. When we come back, we got a whole lot more catch and memory, so don't go away. If you're a shooting enthusiast like I am, you have to check out the incredible lineup from Kel-Tec. Developed and made right here in Central Florida, Kel-Tec is a leading industry manufacturer of shotguns, rifles, pistols, and guess what? They're all chambered in common calibers that we all love to shoot. Whether you're a weekend plinker or you want some advanced personal carry or home protection options, Kel-Tec makes exactly what you need. Find a dealer near you or check out the entire line of Kel-Tec weapons, accessories, and apparel by going to keltecweapons.com.
Your boat's upholstery looked great when it was new, but over time it gets dingy and stained. Starbright has the perfect combination for your problem. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Cleaner and Ultimate Vinyl Guard. Starbright's Ultimate Vinyl Cleaner won't dry or fade your vinyl. It has powerful cleaning agents that blast away fish blood, grease, road grime, and more without harmful chemicals that ruin your boat's vinyl. Starbright's Ultimate Vinyl Guard is like a sunblock for your boat's vinyl cushions. It restores moisture and shine to sun-bleached vinyl without being slippery. Plus, it blocks harmful UV rays and helps keep your vinyl cleaner longer. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Guard is great for plastic, rubber, and leather too. It's ideal protectant for trucks and cars as well. Use Ultimate Vinyl Guard on your car or truck dashboard, seats, and door panels. Heck, you can even use it on the sidewalls of your truck or trailer tires. Starbright Ultimate Vinyl Guard makes all your stuff look great.
Batten down the hatches. We've got another great hour with Captain Jim Ross and this week's special guests.
Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch a Memory Outdoors. Hour number 2 of Catch a Memory Outdoors with Captain Jonathon Moss and myself, Jim Ross. And if you guys and gals are enjoying the show, obviously you can jump on the Facebook feed, tell us how you like it. You can give us a call here if you want to ask any questions of myself or Jonathon as well. And it's so much fun to be able to come out here and try and help you guys and gals catch more fish, learn more about what things we know, sharing information. We love sharing information, Jonathon, and so anytime that we can help make somebody a better experience whenever they're on the water in the woods, man, it's just that's what I live for that anymore. Just trying to help other people do better. That's the best part about what we get to do.
Absolutely.
You can't hide all this knowledge. I mean, we spend a lot of time learning things, and you can't hide that. You got to share it and give it to somebody else so that they can share it and give it to somebody else. And it's a lot of fun. I really, really have enjoyed the ride so far, and continue to enjoy the ride. So you've got. How many seasons of the Captain's Log television show have you got in the can now?
Well, we just finished our 5-year anniversary, but we're 7 seasons in. So we've been doing a little more than a season a year. And those are all available on the Waypoint TV channel app. Waypoint's completely free, available on your phone, your Roku, your Apple TV, your Fire Stick. You can go to any kind of app store and you can download Waypoint TV there. Or you can go and watch on YouTube. I have all of the seasons on YouTube at the Captain's Log TV. Just search the Captain's Log TV and you'll find it there. And 70 episodes. Our season finale actually comes out today, this morning. And just crazy to think how much fishing I've been able to do, how blessed I am to be able to travel all over the Southeast and fish. And the bulk of what we do is here in the state of Florida. Yeah. I've got a lot of friends that are captains who are guides, and I get to experience a lot of different areas.
The neat thing about being a resident of the state of Florida is that you are no more than 3 or 4 hours in most cases drive away from a great,
oh my goodness,
not just an average, but a great fishing destination. I think
offshore to inshore to freshwater to exotics, they're all within reach.
I was going to say, if you think, you live in Orlando. So let's take that guy that lives in Orlando, and he says, man, I want to go fishing for redfish this week. Where can I go fish for redfish that I'll have a really good chance? Well, right now, from Ponce Inlet to St. Augustine is pretty good, but from St. Augustine to Jacksonville and St. Mary's is on fire because they're in the bulk of the mullet run right now. So 2.5 hours, you can put in the water, maybe 3 hours, call it 3 hours by the time you get in the water, and you can go catch redfish because there's all kinds of places to catch redfish up there right now.
And if it's too rough to fish the mullet run on the inlets or right off the beach, the flood tides are going on right now too.
And they're that's what I was going to say. They're all through the marsh. Sisters Creek, Hannah Mills, Mill Cove, all of those areas are very, very navigable for a novice angler. Maybe not back in Hannah Mills. You'd want to wait until the tide's up a little bit. Don't go in there.
There's some oysters in there.
Don't go in there on a falling tide is what I'm trying to say. But all of those areas, and then you come down to the St. Augustine area, and you got Volano Beach, and you got Salt Run, and you've got all of those areas. Once again, just great backcountry fishing that even on a north or even on a heavy wind, you can fish because you're protected. And then even coming down to the Ponce area, Ponce Inlet, the Dunlawton Bridge has got snook all over it right now. There's redfish running all through from Dunlawton all the way to the inlet.
And then from the inlet all the way down to the North Bridge and South Bridge causeways, there's redfish all through that stretch right now. So there's a lot of places you could go. Now that same guy goes, okay, well, I feel like I want to go scalloping today instead. Well, you zip over to Crystal River. So once it gets 2.5 hours, you're in the water. Well, I want to go catch. I want to go fish Pine Island. 3 hours to the south, and launch at Punta Gorda or launch at Gasparilla, and you're in another great fishery. And you look at Bull Bay and Turtle Bay as an example. On the North Wind, you can fish anywhere in Bull or Turtle Bay and have a legitimate shot at slamming, redfish, snook, and trout. And so there's so many, and like you say, the exotics, the freshwater exotics.
There's so many
You
options.
can go
here in
stand on the
Florida.
bank down on, in Fort Lauderdale or Miami and just cast in the
Peacocks
ditch.
and snakeheads and cichlids. And
So there is such an opportunity to be able to do stuff here. And in another month and a half, a guy that's living in Orlando can drive to Fort Pierce or St. Lucie or Stewart, and he can have a legitimate shot at a good sailfish day. So there's just tons and tons of things to do in this state, and that's what's really cool is you're being able to A, go experience those, and B, be able to share those experiences so that other people that live here can go take advantage of
Well,
it.
absolutely. The whole premise of the show is the captain's log. We are bringing the pages of my captain's log to life. And when we're filming, obviously there's a camera boat. Obviously we have cameras, but we don't acknowledge the cameras because what I'm trying to do is invite you into the boat, invite you onto our adventure, invite you into our day, what it looks like for two anglers to go out and stalk these fish. Whether we're fishing offshore, we're tarpon fishing, we're getting really skinny and fishing the flats, or even we're bass fishing. I don't have a preference. I love catching fish. My favorite fish is the one I'm hooked up to, the one I'm reeling in at that moment. I just love catching fish and living in that moment. So to be able to invite y'all in on those adventures and be a part is a huge blessing for me. And I get messages from people from all over the world who are watching, and that just tickles me to death. Like, I can't believe people are taking the time to sit and watch my adventures. So it means so much to me to have that happen.
Well, what's cool is being able to share the experiences here, and in some cases, it's a win for you as far as gaining that next charter client. If that guy that's sitting in Italy right now decides, hey, I want to go catch redfish in the Mosquito Lagoon, and he sees you on TV, and he's like, I got to call this Jonathon guy and go fishing with this guy. He's got it dialed in, and so it obviously it boosts your business, but even if nobody ever, like in your case or my case, even if nobody ever books me, I still want you, when you get done with the interaction that you have with me, I want you to be able to say, hey, I listened to this guy's radio show. I went to this guy's seminar. I saw this guy on a television show with somebody, or like the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Jim was talking about catching this fish on this bait in this area. I want you to be able to take that information, go out and have a more successful day than what you would have had if you had just gone in there blind. And that's being able to share that is really a unique thing that very few of us as fishing guides get a chance to do outside of our little local microcosm. Right. We don't get to share that with people around the world.
And we have a segment on the show where my educating background comes into play. I call it the tackle box tip, and I talk about what we're using that day. And it's not about talking about the show sponsors, the show partners, and plugging those. Though everyone knows we have to have partnerships to make that happen, make that show a reality. But it's more of a, hey, this is what I'm using, this is why I'm using, these are the scenarios I'm using, and here's how you can apply it in your region. Because again, it goes back to, I want more people to get into fishing. Not that I want more pressure everywhere I like to fish, but I love this sport. I love this activity. And I want that passion to be rubbed on other people so they can get a feel.
And the people that do take up that endeavor, you want those people to be doing it the right way.
Correct.
You want them to have some form of an idea of etiquette on the water. You want them to be able to, because if you're having a great day and somebody rides by and blows your school out because they came too close or whatever, they may not have even realized it. I've had people drive up to me when I had a school of fish sitting in front of me. I had this happen on Carbide Flat many years ago. There was a guy, I was just south of Flounder. I was right by Rancho Ditch, okay? Fished in the mouth of Rancho Ditch. There was a school running around in there.
And I had a guy, he picked up, he was up around Flounder Creek. He picked up and he runs and he's running right at me. And I'm like, dude, I'm trying to wave him around. And he just drives right up to me, shuts down. And he goes, hey, man, I just had a really great morning right up there by the mouth of that next creek. He didn't even know what the creek was. He didn't realize it was Flounder Creek. He goes, there's a bunch of redfish right there. And he goes, if you're not catching anything, you should go up there. Now, this guy was so excited to tell me, to share his knowledge, to say, hey, there's fish and they're eating and you can go catch them too. He was so excited about that. I couldn't yell at the guy for blowing up what I was already on. Right. I just said, hey, thanks, I appreciate it. And he picked up and he went on his way. And he was in a little 13-foot Boston whaler. He wasn't in a flats boat. He wasn't anything, fancy. He's just in just a regular old little boat. But he was so excited to share that information. I couldn't get mad at the guy. I told my customer, the redfish will settle down. Give it a minute. We'll go find them again. They were 200 yards away from me at that point. They'd run down the flat. I said, we'll go find them again. It's no big deal. And I said, if we don't find them, we'll go find another school. And the guy's like, what an idiot. Why did that guy come up here and ruin our day? And I was like, he didn't even realize that he did. And he didn't really be helpful. He didn't really even ruin our day. He was just so excited that he had success. He was just trying to help somebody else out while on the water. So in the event that he was, or in the process of helping, he was actually hurting. But how mad can you get at somebody for coming up and saying, hey, man, there's fish right over here?
That's better than someone just pulling up beside you and going, hey, haven't caught anything today. What are you guys doing over here?
And starting to fish. Or I'm going to come run in on you and catch the fish that you already found.
Right.
Yeah, that's aggravating. Yes. So, being able to do that is just, it's what makes the world go around. Helping somebody else to be that great steward on the water and not have an impact negatively on somebody else.
Absolutely.
Well, guys and gals, we're going to take our next break. When we come back, we got Captain Mike Mann on the line, so don't go away. We're going to be right back after these messages.
Dirty footprints and spilled food all create a mess on your boat's deck. Here's a fast and easy solution to clean them. Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean. Just spray it on the spot, hit it with a deck brush, and rinse it off. Dirty vinyl cushions, greasy drips around your outboard, even those suspicious stains your fishing buddy always seems to leave behind, don't stand a chance when you squirt a little Ultimate Extreme Clean on them. Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean works great to clean your grill and around the house. You can use it on your truck or lawnmower. It gets greasy stains out of clothing too. Just spray it on any greasy spot, give it a light rub, and they'll look like new again. Make sure you pick up some Starbright Ultimate Extreme Clean and lose those greasy stains today. Assassin, the most trusted name in bass fishing, is also the top soft plastic lure brand for saltwater species. Sea trout, tarpon, redfish, and snook can't resist a saltwater Assassin 4-inch sea shad. Its amazing swimming action sets the bar for swim bait designs. Others continue to try, but no one has been able to replicate the action of this incredible minnow-style lure. But Assassin has other proven designs. The native shiner-colored 5-inch shad Assassin is my go-to lure when I'm targeting big trout. Redfish love the drunk monkey or the mudbug-colored 4-inch Assassin shrimp. And snook and tarpon love their new little P&V dart bait in watermelon red flake or Houdini colors. You can rig these lures on a weedless worm hook or on the amazing Assassin spring lock jig head. So these are just a few of my favorite Assassin lures that help me and my customers stay happy. Check out what top professional anglers have known for years. Assassin lures simply catch more fish. Stop in your local tackle store or go to bassassassin.com to check out this incredible lure for yourself.
Hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in every Saturday right here to Catch Your Memory Outdoors. This segment of the show is brought to you by Petrucci Insurance. And, if you guys and gals haven't taken the time, you really need to. It's so easy. Monday morning, I want you all to do this, okay? 321-632-1200. It's 632-1200. Call Petrucci Insurance. Call Monday or Tuesday and just say, hey, I need a quick rate quote. Can you check and make sure that I'm getting the best deal possible? And if not, can you help me get the best deal possible? They're an independent insurance agency, and they farm out and see who has the best policy for the best price. And it's one of those things you don't really think about it, but after you do it and you've saved $300, $400, $500, $600, $800 on your home insurance policy, or $400 or $500 on your car insurance policy, or $500 or $600 on your boat insurance policy, you're like, man, that's $500. That 20 minutes of my day, I just made $500 in a half hour. You know, that's $1,000 an hour when you start kind of doing the math on that. Who doesn't want to get paid $1,000 an hour? So call them up, have them run those quotes for you, and make sure you're not paying too much, because that's what they do every single day. They find you the best deal, the best coverage at the best price. So, and if you've already got the best deal, then you'll know, hey, I've already got the best deal. Can't really find anybody else out here that's going to beat my deal. So at least you know that all of the money that you're giving to the insurance agencies is you're doing it in the most effective manner. So call them, 321-632-1200. Tell them you heard about it here on Catch a Memory. And I'm telling you, 15, 20 minutes out of your day could save you, could make you $1,000 an hour.
I like saving money.
I do too, man. I like the $500 in my pocket rather than in the insurance company.
Well, it won't be in my pocket. You give me $500, I'm going to go spend it on something fun. Yeah. A lot more fun than insurance.
There you go. Hey, let's go to the phone lines. We got Captain Mike Mann on the line. Good morning, buddy.
Hey, good morning, guys. How are you?
We're doing good. How are you doing this morning?
Doing good, man. Trying to chase the tide down right now. We're kind of in that in-between, and it's hard to kind of tell what it's doing because we've got such a strong north wind. But, I'll tell you what, this bite's been great this week. The redfish bite has been really, really good.
Well, that's good to hear.
Really good. It's not a lot of sight fishing because we've had just crazy, cloudy skies. We've had wind, lots and lots of wind, but the bite's been good on chunk bait. Now, I think we ended up with 18 reds yesterday and 10 the day before, and trout mixed in with them eating chunk bait. So it's been a good bite going old school on them.
Gotcha. Hey, Mike, we were actually talking about wind and current and how I was able to utilize it yesterday with a outgoing tide north of Sebastian, and then the tide changed and started coming in, and so I moved south of Sebastian Inlet and took advantage of that north wind blowing in conjunction with an incoming tide. And really, we didn't ever really have much of a time where there was a lull in the day. From the time we got on the water to the time we came off the water, we caught fish all day long.
Well, I don't want to hear that because we haven't caught. We started out strong. We got a redfish and a snook, and then I had a snook break off on me because I put in a little bit early. I lost a nice, probably 30-inch snook right at the boat by myself. And I got clients' boat. We got one about 25, and then we got probably a 30-inch redfish. So.
Well, I was going to say, hopefully you can find that area where you can get, the tide and the wind are working together with one another.
Well, and that's, we're getting ready to start having the incoming tide, and with that north wind, I'm south of Ponce Inlet, so we're going to have good tides and good winds. I'm just kind of waiting for it to switch around a little bit. It's kind of slack still.
You need to check my little snook spot.
I'm going to check that today.
This wind and this tide, that should be perfect for them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got a live well full of croakers. I'm going to hit that spot. That's definitely, I'm just kind of waiting for the tide to switch, that I tried chasing it south, see if we could still stay in some of the outgoing. And it just, I spent too much time up north, and so now we're kind of in that lull. But it's going to switch around, and we're going to get back on them. But, man, what a great bite. It had been kind of slow for a while in the lagoon. The water was kind of dirty. It's starting to clean up. We got big flood tides, and we've had a tremendous amount of rain. But with the big pushing flood tides, we've really had some clean water pushing into the grass flats.
That's good. That's good news.
2 days, it's gotten a little cleaner every day.
Good.
Mike, are you seeing a bunch of mullet? I think it was 2 weeks ago you were saying that the mullet were everywhere, and then last week you were saying, it kind of slowed down a little bit. Are they coming back in on these?
No, not floods? Seeing much. I had some Tuesday out on the beach. Had one little group out on the beach, but inside. It's been hard catching bait this week. I don't know if it's all the fresh water has pushed them down deep, because I think we got like 5 or 6 inches of rain Sunday night here, and then we've had, an inch here, a half inch there, another inch, throughout the whole week. Yeah. So, it's easy to find, the silvers and some stripes. You can find those guys. But the finger mullet, I haven't found a finger mullet in 2 days of fishing.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. It's yeah, but hey, I was telling my guys this morning on the boat, and they're actually Captain Bruno was down, so they're one of Bruno's clients, and I was lucky enough to get them on my boat while his boat's getting repaired. But I was telling them usually by now you can walk across the bait, and it's just not been that way. And I can't figure out what it is. I don't know if it's the rain and they're down deep or they're just not in good. But hopefully we'll start getting some going, and hopefully they haven't looped around us.
Well, I know I was talking with Rick Riles on Monday, and Rick lives right there on the at Mayport, and so he's just east of Sisters Creek, St. Johns River intersection on the Mayport Inlet, and he said that it is absolutely just stacked. Mill Cove is stacked, Sisters Creek is stacked, Hannah Mills is stacked. So there's plenty of mullet that are on their way. And he says the red fishing is absolutely off the chain up there right now. So hopefully we're gonna see some of this fish continue to push south as we come farther into the fall, and we get a really, really good push of mullet this year. Sounds like we will.
Well, and that's what I was wondering, because, usually by now it's going pretty thick. And, even you get down to like Jensen Beach, man, usually, the guide rendezvous is coming up in a couple of weeks, and usually by now, you can walk across the mullet. There's tarpon blast and snook blast. It's just a pretty interesting time. We've got the same thing going here, but I think everything's about a month and a half off. Hopefully we'll start getting them coming through in just a little bit.
Yep. Well, Bud, how does somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah, I've got some days open this month. You can give me a call at area code 386-295-5991. You can go right to my website, fatfishguide.com. Follow me on Instagram, CAPT Mike Mann with 2 N's, and the same thing on Facebook, Captain Mike Mann. Guys, get out there and catch a memory and have some fun.
You want to do that, buddy. Thanks for the call, and tear them up the rest of the day.
See you, Mike.
All right, thanks, guys. Take care.
All right, bye now. Hey, gang, I know that you've probably seen, if you have, been on your social media lately, you've probably seen either a post that I made or maybe one that Bree has made from the Florida Insider Fishing Report, or maybe Rick Murphy. But we've got, Jeffrey Page is our Central West region guide for the TV show. And Jeff is having some interstitial lung issues, and he's having to go through like barometric chamber, recuperation and treatment. It's weird, where they put him like in this oxygen chamber type of a scenario, and trying to help him beat this whatever this sickness is, this illness is that he has. But here's something that's really cool is, the fishing community will wrap around one another, and we will help one another as best we can. So there is a Go Live red and trout event put on by Power Pole National Redfish Tour, and it's to help Jeffrey save some, or get some money saved up, because he's running out of money fast. Unfortunately, the place where he's going doesn't accept insurance. So he's having to pay cash, and it's not cheap. So what they're doing is they're going to have on September 27th, that's 2 weeks from today, they're going to have a red trout tournament, and you can be anywhere that you can catch redfish and trout. You can be in the Pamlico Sound. You can be in the Barataria Waterway. You can be out at Shell Beach, Cocodrie. You can be in Port Aransas. It doesn't matter. Anywhere in the southeast where you can catch redfish and trout, you can join in on this Go Live event. You sign up for the event at thenationalredfishtour.com. It's real easy to find. And first place is $2,500, second is $2,000, third is $1,000, fourth and fifth are $750 respectively at this point. And it's a 3-person team, not a 2-person. You can have up to 3 guys, guys, gals. You can take you, the wife, and the child if you want to. It's a catch, weigh in, and release live tournament. You got to have a digital scale so that we can, see what it is. But it's the heaviest redfish up to 9 pounds. So if it's 9.1 or 9.2 pounds, it's too big. Up to 9 pounds, that's your maximum. So it's not a size limit. It's just a weight limit. So a fish up to 9 pounds, and then the single heaviest trout in addition to that. So you can have a 9-pound redfish, and if you get a 9-pound trout, you got 18 pounds. That's pretty good. And there's guys out in Lake Calcasieu, anywhere from western Louisiana or around to Texas, you got a decent shot at a legit trout. Guys in Florida have a legit shot. The guys in the southeast, South Carolina, North Carolina, it's gonna be harder for them to find that bigger trout, but they can definitely still get involved with it because it is a benefit tournament to try and help. Basically a West Coast legend when it comes to captains here in the state of Florida. But it's super easy. Comes up on the Go Live event on your Facebook, and you go to the nationalredfishtour.com to check it out and get yourself registered for that. So it's a catch, weigh, and release live tournament and benefiting Captain Jeffrey Page. And let's just say that you can't fish the tournament. You can still, there's a direct link that you can directly donate. Say, hey, here's 20, here's 50, here's $100 to help Jeff out. And I'm not going to be able to fish the event because I'm going to be sitting in here doing the radio show. But I'm donating via that method. So even though I can't participate, I'm still going to donate to help Jeffrey out. And so that's one thing that you guys and gals can do. So anyway, just wanted to let you guys and gals know about that. The nationalredfishtour.com. But you'll probably see some of that going on the socials here in the next couple of weeks as well. So if you haven't seen it, look for it. It's definitely something worthwhile. And Jeffrey is a great guy and definitely needs our help.
Absolutely.
So we're going to take our next break. Captain Jonathon Moss and myself going to be right back after these messages.
I'm sure you're aware of the ongoing projects out there that are aimed at restoring seagrass and water quality in the Indian River Lagoon system. Well, here's one that I'm proud to have played a role in getting started, the Indian River Lagoon Clam Restoration Project. I collaborated with Whitney Labs, CCA, the FWC, and many other partners to implement this clam restoration project right here on Florida's East Coast. I would love for every one of you to get involved with this program. Your $20 donation will put 200 clams back into our lagoons. As they grow, these 200 clams will filter over 1 million gallons of lagoon water per year, greatly impacting the health of our local waters. Your contributions are tax deductible, so please help our lagoon by donating $20, $50, $100 or more to this cause. You can make your donation online at indianriverclamproject.org/support. Again, that's indianriverclamproject.org/support. And on behalf of myself and our waters in the lagoon, we thank you.
Sunrise Marina Bait and Tackle Shop. They've been serving Brevard County anglers for over 25 years. Sunrise has all of the gear that you hardcore anglers need for a productive day on the water, and they've got frozen baits like ballyhoo, sardines, squid, and more. Plus, Sunrise Marina has a great selection of live baits, shrimp, pinfish, croakers, mud minnows, fiddler crabs, and a whole lot more. So if you're looking for tackle, rods and reels, boating accessories, fresh made sandwiches, or your favorite beverages, Sunrise Marina has got everything for you, and you can ice it all down with some bagged or bulk ice at their convenient, trailer boat friendly drive-thru. Sunrise Marina also stocks some really cool nautical gifts, as well as the performance clothing and casual clothing that anglers like you and me like to wear. Make sure you stop by Sunrise Marina before heading out before your next fishing adventure. They're easy to find right across the street from Grills Restaurant at 505 Glen Cheek Drive in Port Canaveral.
Hey guys and gals, welcome back to this segment of the show. We're going to talk a little bit about the Starbright Cleaning Solutions. Well, in this case, it's not actually a solution. It is a thing that you would put the solution on. It's the deck brush, the Starbright deck brush. If you guys and gals are looking for a fantastic deck brush, this is the one that I use all the time. I go through about 2 a year, about 150 washings, and it starts to get a little worn out. And the synthetic wood deck brush combo, you can get the pole that comes right along with it. I use the medium bristle most of the time. I just like that one better than the soft. I like it better than the firm one is good for like scrubbing concrete, but I don't really use it on the deck of my boat. But this synthetic blue one is a fantastic all-around deck brush, and it really does the trick. It's also got this white rubber bumper around it, so like when you get in the corners of your gel coat and stuff, you're not banging the wood, or in some cases a plastic head in some particular types of the deck brushes. You're not banging that against your gel coat all the time. It's got a quick disconnect on the bottom of it, so you can put all kinds of stuff on that pole. You can put a boat hook on it if you like. If you have a need for a boat hook to grab your dock lines off your poles when you're backing into your slip. But Starbright deck brush, wood head with the synthetic bristles. That is the way to go right there. And that thing is money in my book because I spend as much time on a deck brush as I do on a fishing pole anymore. You know?
And you know what? My dad taught me, buy the best you can afford, and then take care of your tools. So if I'm buying something, I'd rather spend a little bit more money on something that's going to last me a lot longer.
Exactly.
And as much as we are cleaning our boats and spending time on it, I don't like showing up to a charter with a dirty boat. If I'm running a double, if I have the opportunity, I'm going to run to the car wash real fast and blow it out and clean it out. So that next person steps into a clean boat. That's just how I am. I'm weird. But
and the second that bait fish gets bit in half, or you bring that catfish or that ladyfish or that Spanish mackerel over the gunnel, and there's blood and poop slung everywhere, the deck immediately gets cleaned.
Yep.
I don't want people trampling around on that. I don't want people to have to sit on that if it gets on the seats.
The worse it is to clean it later.
Clean it immediately, and that way it's a clean boat's a happy boat. Hey, let's go to the phone lines. Orson Tarver's calling in this morning. Good morning, Orson.
Hey, Jim. How's it going, man? How you been?
Good, buddy. How have you been?
Good. Excited for doing a little bottom fishing this fall, man. I was part of that exempted fishing permit project last quarter. So they decided to do another quarter to collect some more data. They're starting to dial in like the limits. I think that they're going to probably put in place and potentially have a red snapper season. So yeah, man, I reapplied and I got selected again. So
congratulations.
I was gonna go, yeah, man. I thought I was going to go snook fishing and doing the drift and all that fun stuff. But now I'm gearing the boat up to go offshore as soon as I can get some decent weather and catch some red snapper, man. Load up the box again.
Well, go snook fishing anyway because snook fishing's been good. Then go red snapper fishing.
Only so many days you can go fishing, right? Well, I mean, if I guess I quit my job, maybe I could squeeze in some more fishing. So, but it's pretty cool. They're kind of dialing it in. They had it's about bottom fishing. They were testing out the idea of a 15 fish grouper snapper aggregate. So each angler could keep like basically the first 15 fish that were keepers, whether a snapper or grouper. And the grouper, all the limits applied regulations. Now it's 10. So they're kind of like, I think, based on the data they're collecting, it looks like they're trying to figure out, what is going to be the right, limit regulations on what you can catch and keep, which would then include, red snapper, of course, which, out here in Atlantic, we can't keep them anymore except for those 2 days.
So what you're saying is that in your collective bottom bag, you may have one red grouper, one gag grouper, maybe a Warsaw grouper, and then you could have, say, 5 mangroves and a couple of lanes and keep a red snapper in with that 10 bottom fish bag limit aggregate?
Yep, that's the way it's shaping up, yeah. And keep, or if you catch 4 or 5 red snapper, you can keep them as part of your aggregate, but you have to stop fishing. When the angler hits 10, they have to stop fishing. So they've hit their limit for the day. So whatever the mix of that bag of fish, then you stop fishing. I think it kind of makes sense, right? Because maybe that'll help cut down on the culling, and not a lot of fish live even with those descend devices. The depredation is pretty bad. So maybe that's kind of like the idea is like, hey, you can keep the fish and put them in the box. You just have to stop fishing once you hit this magical number of 10. Gotcha. I don't know if that's going to be the end regulation, but it seems like that's the direction they're going with the research they're doing.
Well, if we could keep one red snapper in federal waters, that would be a pretty cool thing.
Yeah. I agree. So hopefully all this data helps, and they're doing another quarter. I don't know if they're going to do another quarter after this, but they at least decided to do one extra quarter to collect some more data.
Well,
so, that's pretty cool stuff.
Before we end the call, so the last time that you went out, you had a limit of how many fish that you were allowed to keep.
So they had the 15. That time was a 15 fish bottom fishing aggregate, and you could keep up to 36 red snapper in the boats. So total 36 red snapper for the entire boat. 15 fish limit. So, if one of your anglers hit the 15 fish, they had to stop fishing. That was kind of like the rule. So now it's 10 fish, and it's a limit of 24 red snapper for the boat. So maybe it'd be interesting to see is maybe they'll also have a combined boat limit. So maybe you'll keep your 10 fish, and maybe there is an aggregate limit on the snapper. You can keep, I don't know, 5, 10, 24, whatever they come up with. And then, that kind of ends the fishing. So, because, once you catch, with this program I'm doing, if we hit the 24 red snapper, we have to stop fishing and call it a day.
Right.
And head in. So that's, so yeah, it'll be interesting. I think these regulations make sense if this is what they end up doing. And it sure would be nice to actually be able to catch some red snapper, throughout the year instead of just those 2 days.
Yeah. A lot of guys are like, well, why do they let you go out and catch 30 red snapper? Or why do they let you go out and catch 3 red, whatever it happens to be? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One is that they want to see if you can actually hit that number. Is there enough fish in the water that you can actually go out on, and multiple people doing this under this limited entry quota permit type of a scenario? How many people can actually go out, because it's being videotaped? They've got video cameras on the boat. You're recording every catch. How many people, Joe average, not a commercial fisherman, not
recreational,
not bottom fisherman extraordinaire, Joe average recreational guy can go out. Can he catch 30 red snapper in a day? Can it happen? And it can.
Absolutely can.
Guys can do that. And so, okay, well, we can hit that number. Okay, so if we know we can hit that number, then when we open it up to thousands of anglers, each of those thousands of anglers can keep 1 red snapper, and everybody should still be able to take a fish home, and we should be able to not over harvest that fishery. So I understand why the numbers are so high. I've had a lot of people ask me, why do they let one boat keep 30 fish, or one boat keep however? And it's like, they're just trying to see, can you actually catch them?
Yeah, and I think we only hit, the highest we ever hit last was 23 or 24. And I tell you what, man, it was 4 guys. You know my crew. You know all of them. We're not exactly slouches, but I tell you what, man, when you get up into those numbers, like, you're tired. I mean, we were like, cranking up 180, 200 feet of water. If we could have gotten to 36, maybe, but everyone, you're looking around the boat and you see it in their eyes, like, shit, let's just shoot.
I'm done.
Let's go in.
Yeah, I'm done with this. Yeah, my arm won't work anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but also the important thing about keeping all those fish is that, the biologists are collecting the ear bones, they're measuring them, the age of the fish, how big are they, did they have eggs, whatever. They're collecting a lot of really good data to really understand the fishery, because I think that's what everyone complains about, right? Oh, they don't have good data. Oh, they don't know what's really going on out there.
Well, that's what that's what this whole program is for, is that the speculation that the National Marine Fisheries base their closure on, this is being disproven. And it's being disproven to the nth degree. You know what I mean? To the exponentially being disproven, because they're factually documenting every fact about the fishery with video proof. So I think the state of Florida is really onto something here. And anytime that the feds want to shut something down, obviously it's a pain in the you-know-what to have to go back and try to reopen a fishery once it's been closed. But I think they've gone about it in a very, very successful manner. And when they put this case out there and say, hey, this is the reason that we are going to take over our own snapper fishery, because you guys can't do it right, and this is the facts to prove that you can't do it right. Here's the data proving it. That's when it's undisputable.
Yeah, and I think what's important, Jim, is I know you see it on social media. Some people don't understand that when Florida Fish and Wildlife, there's FWC, there's the scientists and law enforcement. And sometimes you see online, like, the scientists, the biologists, the folks that I've worked with, sometimes they're at the ramp. They ask you, hey, what'd you catch? What's in your cooler? So you see some of the social media warriors, like, don't answer any of their questions. Don't tell them anything. You're blah, 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 rules. And it's like, no. Like, help these people out. Give them some data, because this data is what helps drive regulations. If you just act stupid and are rude to them and not give them any data, you're not helping us and the fishermen and the fishery. You're actually just hurting us.
And those are the same
by
people
acting like a fool
who don't go to the FWC meetings, who just talk on social media, who don't know what they're talking about. If you actually go to an FWC meeting, staff, the scientists, present their data to the commissioners, and that's where decisions are being made.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate and respect the fact that they actually use data. I mean, us as guides, we get phone calls all the time.
Yeah,
Hey,
weekly.
I want to get weekly. Yeah, we get the letter in the mail, and then they call and say, we want to get your fishing report. Where did you launch? How many people? How many hours? How many fish? Not because they want to dictate us what we're doing, but they want to use that knowledge and that data to better the fishery.
Yeah. Example.
Yeah, they're good people.
We went out for a 4-hour trip with 3 guys, and we caught 6 redfish and 18 trout. Well, now that was 2004. Now we go out with those same guys, and we caught 2 redfish and 7 trout. Well, the numbers obviously changed, and if it's consistent, if those numbers consistently mirror one another, where years ago we had better fishery because we had better habitat, we had more fish. Now we don't have a good fishery, so we need to curtail the harvesting of fish so that more people can enjoy the sport.
Correct.
And not over harvest. Orson, we're up against our break. Thank you so much for the call-in and the information this morning, and good luck whenever you get a chance to get out there and do a little bit of that red snapper fishing.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Jim. And I promise I will. One of these days, I'll get you a fresh, non-frozen fillet of American red snapper to your house somehow.
I'm all in on that one, buddy. You call and I'm coming.
I'll figure it out, man. I'll make it happen, sir. All right.
Thanks, Orson.
Take care.
Bye now. Bye. Oh, that's awesome. Fresh red snapper would be good.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, guys and gals, we're going to take our last break of the day. Captain Jonathon Moss and myself will be right back, so don't go away.
The enzymes in StarTron improve the quality of all fuels so engines start easier, even if they haven't been run for several months. Don't just stabilize your fuel, tune it with StarTron. StarTron enzyme fuel treatment can also be used in 2- and 4-stroke engines, trucks, lawnmowers, generators, motorcycles, 4-wheelers, basically anything that runs on gas. You can also get StarTron diesel fuel treatment for your truck, boat, or tractor, or construction equipment. If you want to fuel more power, tune your fuel with StarTron.
Is your home under attack from pests or termites? Or have furry wildlife made themselves way too comfortable in your attic? At Integrity Pest Management, they specialize in getting rid of pests, termites, and wildlife safely and effectively. With years of experience and commitment to integrity, they protect your home from unwanted invaders using eco-friendly and efficient solutions. Don't wait for the damage to pile up. Call Integrity Pest Management today for a free inspection and let them restore peace and security to your home. Call 321-637-1199 or visit them at integritypestmanagement.com. Integrity Pest Management, where your home safety and your peace of mind are their top priority. Well, hey, guys and gals, welcome back. We appreciate you tuning in here. This is actually, I can't believe we're already up against our almost done with the show. Where did the 2 hours go, Jonathan?
It goes fast.
Crazy.
So fast.
Hey, if you guys and gals are looking for any of the great gear that we talk about, or just looking for some new cool stuff, go down to Strike Zone in Melbourne. They sponsor this segment of the show. They're a fantastic sponsor, been a sponsor for years and years, and we really appreciate those guys down there. But, you can get just about everything you need from Strike Zone. So stop in there in Melbourne and tell them you heard about it right here on Catch Your Memory Outdoors. I'm sure they will appreciate it. Jonathan, we were just talking about red snapper in that last segment when Orson Tarver called in, and he's been fortunate enough to get this second wave of permits to be able to go out and do it again. So he's kind of becoming the professional at this educational and fact-finding mission for Florida, Wildlife Conservation Commission. So you got a chance to go do some red snapper fishing here, not being the expert in that particular fishery. You're more of the expert in that inshore fishery. You look at what's going on offshore, and the little story that you just told tells that, there are a lot of snapper out there. So on the captain's log, you did an episode out of Mayport.
Yes, this was season 6. This was last year's season, episode 7. We called it Mayport Mayhem.
Okay.
And it was exactly that. We were 40-ish miles offshore, 100-something feet of water. When you pulled up to the zone, your machine was lit up full of fish. And my buddy,
what time of year was this?
This was like early spring last year because we were still wearing hoodies going out. It was still chilly.
Still a little chilly. Okay.
And my buddy said, just give it a second, and all those fish will be on the surface. And we start throwing out chum, and I'm telling you, they hear the motors and they're curious, like cobia, like what's going on. And we start chumming up, throwing the chum bag in. All of a sudden, these red snapper are on the surface. And I pull out a 12-weight, a fly rod, and I have the opportunity to sight fish 15, 20-pound red snapper on fly out in the Atlantic Ocean, 40 miles from land.
Crazy.
And that just shows, I mean, I was so giddy and just I couldn't stop laughing because of how much fun it was.
Yeah.
You know, to watch these fish fight over a fly on the surface, and then as soon as you hook up, they're going straight back to the bottom, and you're just like, oh, like holding on to the rod and just laughing and just having the best time. But it shows you how many fish we were catching.
Yeah.
Now, there is a picture of me holding a particular red snapper that I caught on fly with a split tail, which was the wildest, coolest thing I've ever seen. This tail was just cut, and it just healed, and it was split. Well, Captain Chris Schultz, who I filmed that episode with, he went out on one of these. He got one of these permits.
Right.
One of his buddies got one of these permits, and they went out, and they were documenting it, and they caught the same red snapper.
Really?
And that one got brought home and was used for the research, and they got to flay it and eat it and all that. But it just goes to show you, these fish aren't just dying. We do have a
They're
predation,
resilient. Yeah.
issue. There is a lot of fish that get released that die, but there are a lot of fish that make it. And it goes to show you that these fish are resilient. They can get caught, can get released. And we have the fishery that can sustain us having a season.
Yeah.
But again, with having the data, it goes back to when I was a teacher. If you had a problem student, you couldn't just send them to the office. You had to start creating data so that when you met with the parent, you met with the principal, you met with the student, you had all of this stuff written down. And so I appreciate the data collection and the science behind it, because we talked about it in an earlier segment. I think generationally, I want my kids to have a better fishery than we had when we were kids, right? I want it to only get better for our grandkids and our great-grandchildren, right? And that all comes with proper management, which starts with data collection. So to Orvis's point, yes, talk to those people. Be kind, be respectful. Give your what's going on the water. Tell them your experience. I'm not saying give them all your hot spots, but say, hey, here's the truth. Here's where we fished. Here's our data. And then they can use that to make better regulations.
And they're not really, in most cases, looking for your super secret spot. What they're looking for is,
what did you catch?
How many guys did you have on the boat? How long were you actually fishing?
Right.
Not just boat riding from spot A to spot B. How much actual time did you have lines in the water? And so they can use those man hours and then multiply that or divide that by the fish that you caught. So if you caught a handful of whatever, it took X number of hours to catch that number of fish. There's a ratio there. There's a formula that you can figure out approximately, the health of the fishery. And you go, well, one day they're biting good, the next day they're not biting good. That's why those guys are out there every day collecting data every single day.
Yeah.
So that they have you take the peaks and the troughs out of it, and you get a solid baseline to work from.
Exactly. Yeah, if you are into watching fishing shows and want to see some red snapper, we caught them on fly, we caught them on spin. It's episode 7 from season 6 of the Captain's Log. It is a lot of fun. I mean, we had an absolute blast. I cannot wait.
And you can find that on your YouTube page?
Yeah, you can find it on our YouTube channel at the Captain's Log TV, or you can go to Waypoint and watch it there as well.
Okay.
But it was, it was probably my funnest day last season, my favorite episode from last season. They're all fun, but that one was just special.
When it all comes together like that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then to see those fish and to see them react like a redfish, see them fighting or get competitive with each other.
It's almost like they turn into jacks.
Yeah.
Because they get really aggressive with one another. Like, I'm going to eat that and you're not. I'm going to beat you to it. That's a really cool thing to have.
In fact, we had the guys, the camera crew were yelling at me, man, your trout setting, you're not doing something right, because I couldn't hook one. And finally, after the 5th miss, we brought the fly in. The fly broke. The hook broke on the first fish.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, I told you I wouldn't do something wrong. We swapped out that fly, put a new one on, and boom, the next heat, I was hooked up. But yeah, they are so strong and aggressive and fun.
But what's interesting is you still thought you had a barb on there, because they'll hold on to it so hard and run with it and take drag. And you're like, well, how am I not getting the hook? He just ran 15 yards of drag. How am I not? And the same thing happens with cobia. Their mouth pressure is so strong. Guys will cast a jig at them, and they'll feel a hookup, and they'll think they set the hook, and the fish he'll run because he's trying to mash. He's trying to kill that bait. He's using his tongue against the roof of his mouth to smash that thing. Okay, that's how they feed. Tarpon are the same way. They smash things, and so he's running with it, and his jaw pressure is so much that you can't pull that jig or that whatever it is back out of his mouth until he opens his mouth. And how did the hook fall out? Well, because you never had him hooked in the first place. Yep. And so, kind of going back to a related topic with hooking fish, one of the things that I like to tell people to do in this situation with a J hook, not necessarily the circle, but with a J hook, strike the fish multiple times. And one of my favorite guys to ever fish with, and one of the icons of the sport who died way too young, Jose Wahebe. If you ever watch Jose Wahebe set the hook on a sailfish in particular, but he did it pretty much with most fish, but in particular with sailfish, it was a multiple strike scenario. It was strike, reel, strike, reel, strike, reel, strike, reel. And it was a very fast, rapid motion because you know that the second that fish feels pressure and he's like, I can't get this bait to stop wiggling in my mouth because you're manually manipulating it with your rod tip. Okay. He opens his mouth to smash down on it again. Well, if you're not, or he spits it and then maybe or maybe not re-grabs it. But if you're hook set, reel, hook set, reel, hook set, reel, and it's real fast, just twitch, real fast like that, the second he opens his mouth, that's when your J hook has the chance to actually hook up and penetrate and get into him properly. And then that second, third, fourth one after that just re-verifies that hook set. It inserts it that much farther. So multiple hook sets, not this Roland Martin rear back, son, been bring the rod tip completely back behind your head kind of thing. Okay. That's for show. Honestly, the bass guys, I'm calling you out. I love bass fishing, but that is nothing but TV promotional show type stuff. That circus act is what it is really, because you and I have caught 9,473 bass in our lifetime, right? And we all know that you don't have to do the Roland Martin, jump off the deck of the boat hook set to try and get that hook to penetrate.
That's right.
Well, buddy, man, holy cow, man.
Shows always
how do we run out of time again?
It always flies.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's been a pleasure, dude. I really enjoy having you on the show. You're so much fun to work with.
Well,
and
appreciate it.
Hopefully you continue to blow up, get bigger, get stronger, spread the word to more people. How do people find Jonathon Moss on a charter basis, and how do they find him, obviously, on the TV?
Well, yeah, we'll be quick because we're coming up to the end of the show. But if you want to go fishing, gocastaway.com is my website for Go Castaway Fishing Charters. My phone number is 407-760-8593, and all that information is there on my website. On the TV side, the captainslogtv.com has all of my socials are connected there, and all the episodes are there as well. But you can watch on Waypoint, you can watch on Discovery, and you can watch on YouTube at the Captain's Log TV. I also launched about a year ago, coming up on a year, the Captain's Log Radio. So I interview fishing and hunting guides from all over the country. I've had guys from California all the way up to the Northeast and all over the Southeast. So you can listen to that on Spotify, iHeart, or the Outdoor Radio Network, the Captain's Log Radio. So if you're into hunting and fishing shows and you want to do more beyond catch and memory, please check that out as well.
Awesome. Well, buddy, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh,
thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Always.
I really appreciate you coming in and having a great time on this show. And guys and gals, hopefully you enjoyed it as much as we had fun giving it to you. Do exactly what we're going to do this week. Is opening day of deer season.